Boop, boop, boop. Galaxy Defenders. Here comes Men in Black. Something, something, remember. What's up? Can y'all hear me out there? Can y'all hear me in YouTube land? For some reason, I feel like you can't. All right. We're good. Heard? You heard? I don't know if you guys have seen nonstop on social media, the Men in Black like skit. It's like a TikTok or Reels or whichever platform you use. Although you're probably not seeing it on Instagram because Instagram ain't working. Facebook ain't working. We'll get into that. I'm riding solo, people. We're riding dirty today. We're riding solo. We're going to hang out. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do it up. What's up, Don Fran Show? What's good? Don Fran in a stream at the beginning of the market must be bad. Oh, man. All right, let me get set up. Give me 1 second. Starting 5, we have Sean Ethier, Scott Sherwood, Baikatoon. Baikatoon? I think you gave us this before. John Musil and Rudy Brown. Yo, what's up? Man, oof. So far, not so good for a lot of our stocks, especially if they're in tech. We've got a rough day, but there's some bright spots in the market we can definitely go over. I certainly want to talk about what's going on with Facebook. I don't know if you guys are in the loop on that one. Want to talk about Tesla, the reaction it had today. And then the other markets, the other parts of the market that showed up, because not all of it was horrible. How'd you guys do today? How's it going today so far in your account? Do I have to talk anybody off the ledge? Let me know. Don has been on time lately. He certainly has. Baker 21. Appreciate you guys in here. Welcome to Own the Chaos. If you have not been here before, what took you so long? We still welcome you with open arms. Stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we've made it our mission to help you own it. That's what we're about. And today was chaotic. It was craziness. My name's Fat Man Zoom. B. Smith will be back maybe tomorrow. Pretty sure he'll be back tomorrow. But he had some personal things come up, so I'm riding solo. You stuck with me, suckers. Spirit, Tesla, Ford, up. Yes, they are all up. What's up, Gopal? The good thing about solo days is we can just have one-on-one, so your comments are more likely to be shouted out. And I do think today, since there is such craziness, it'll be good to answer some of the questions you have regarding your stocks. You know what I think about when we have these red days, especially when it seems like most things are down. Man, it really exposes your style. It really exposes the diversification, your leverage, and what's going on. So for some people, they're prepared for this. They've properly hedged risk, all this other stuff. Other people may not be, and it could be a tough sled. Those YOLOers tend to get in trouble on these days, and I've been there before, so I'm no better. But what today is that we call is a red zone day. When it's seemingly the entire market's red, when everywhere you look it's red, most people are running. That's when the opportunities present themselves. What opportunities did you guys find out there? Obviously, oil was green. Tesla, I think, is still hanging out slightly green. Tesla did well pre-market. We said this could possibly happen. Tesla was sitting right around, still sitting right around 780. I hope those numbers. But just to run through a few, NVIDIA broke below $200, down 5.5%. Zoom 256, down 4%. Drive Shack down 5%. I'm just looking at things that are just on the stocks app. Fang obviously be down. Facebook down 5.5%, which we'll get into. And those are going to be that's going to be really the one thing I want to get your guys' feedback on. And do give me your guys' feedback, because we one thing we pride ourselves on is the community aspect of this. And this is more of a conversation, more of a dialogue. Crypto land, Mr. DeSoto saying looking good. Yeah, Bitcoin was trying to get above that 50K. 49 keeps testing that 50K. Ethereum at 3,400. Let me actually just go ahead and see if I can share my screen with you so we can look at some of these charts. Feel free to throw any questions in the chat, guys. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're liking the content, liking what we're talking about. Roku took a huge dump. Yeah. I mean, Roku, broke that support. All right. So let me go ahead, share the screen. Boom. Like that. All right, guys. So, I wish these were actually the numbers, but they're not. Webull needs to refresh here. We might need to do it this way. Wouldn't that be great if those were the numbers? That's not it. Let's do this one. These are correct. S&P 500 down 1.5%. We'll look at a year to date, up 26% year to date. Oh, no, sorry, that's the 1 year. My fault. Stocks doesn't have the year to date feature. But what we can do, 15%. That sounds more like it. That seemed kind of high. 11:33, 2000 seen become related to the Huh. Yeah, interesting. Amazon, Apple looking good, but I like cyber stocks, also AI gambling stocks. CNBC doing a spot on AI gambling tomorrow. Huh, that'll be interesting for sure. But let's go ahead and look at a few tickers. So looking at the overall markets, obviously all the major indices are down. Dow's down a little over 1%, S&P down 1.5%, and Q's were the big loser. Are the big losers so far, down 2.5%. Ooh, rough. We thought this, and no matter what your general thought would be as to sort of the reasoning behind it, obviously people were concerned about the yield. Tech's just been these companies, these growth stocks are really going to be the ones that are facing challenges. We talked about this being a possibility, but I think really the question we have to ask ourselves is the continuation piece. Is this an opportunity, or do we need to see how, the next couple of days play out in general? Let's not forget that we're about to head into earnings season. So to be honest with you, these could be great opportunities depending on how that is. And I think one that could be a huge opportunity as I pull it up, got to be Facebook. I mean, Facebook, what a mess. Facebook obviously had the article about a whistleblower. The whistleblower exposed himself about Facebook practices. And I'll be honest, I don't know how surprising it is. Whether you believe it or not, basically, she talked about the fact that Facebook is, how do I put it? I mean, the easiest way to sum it up is Facebook forwardly tries to act like they're working in the best, looking out for the best interest of their client and of the users. But really what she said is they just care about profit at all costs. That's what for-profit companies do. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just the reality of it. Facebook actually, oh, there you go, almost 5.5%. Today, and I'll just do, sorry I have to use this for you guys. For some reason, Webull did not update. But if we look at if we just look over essentially what is almost the last month, Facebook's down 15%. The challenge here, though, for Facebook is really going to be, I don't even want to say the challenge, but the reality is you could be catching a falling knife. But as so aptly mentioned by some people in the Chaos crew, and I think when you really look at this, Facebook, number one, is one of the more underrated FANG stocks. Two, they're just going to continue to develop a massive cash pile, and they have huge upside. Fundamentally, on these drops, it looks incredible. That's just the truth. So what's your risk tolerance? What's your timeline? This is going to turn to be a huge opportunity for Facebook. She said the algorithms in place, to incite hate and violence as the result of profits. Yeah. So essentially, the algorithm rewards polarizing content and typically ends up putting more weight on content that sparks or evokes negative emotions. And I mean, I know content creators that they realize, like, I have to put out polarizing content. So the question is Facebook a buy? Yes, the Facebook is a buy, but you got to wait for confirmation. I'm going to get into Facebook. I'm going to buy Facebook. Facebook is in my long-term Fat Man Zoom account, but for the short term, this is going to present a good opportunity. Mad Dick says Facebook is a $2 trillion company someday. Just hold, solid fundamentals. Absolutely, it is a $2 billion company someday. Facebook, I don't know why, like, when you really look at it and you look at the opportunity, the upside, and how they're building their business, you should be excited about that. Just fell below $1 trillion, but that's okay. It'll be back over $1 trillion. Facebook trying to be the fourth branch of government. I love these comments you guys are putting. This is a good point I haven't heard. No different than the news. That's actually an incredible point, and it's seemingly obvious, but I never actually put two and two together. The news is all negative. The news rarely talks about heartwarming stories. It's all gut-wrenching and the worst of the worst. And so I like that. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in the same boat. It's cool. I think exercising patience and not getting bummed out if you miss a little bit of the bounce back, right? The reversal. There's no rush in this thing. So let me actually see. I want to pull up the earnings date for Facebook. So, because I would say that would be what I would be considering looking forward. I think there's going to be some more pushback, some more blowback. Facebook has had really 8 solid quarters. I don't say great quarters, but the last 5 have been awesome. I think they're going to have a great quarter. October 27th. So we have essentially 3 weeks. I would see how this week plays out. Obviously, if you see the confirmation, great. However, if you don't, I certainly am going to be in this before earnings. So even if there's no confirmation, I would definitely YOLO this before earnings, because obviously I don't even mind if I have to hold on to it anyways if it goes down further. These are the immaterial headwinds that we look for a discounted stock. Facebook is on discount. Make no mistake about it. Think about this. Advertising revenue is at all-time highs. It's better than it's ever been, and it's going to continue to grow. Facebook Marketplace is as active as it's been. Obviously, outside of pandemic was everybody's home, but they're still seeing those levels of activity, and it's going to continue to grow. The Oculus, the AI exposure, that's going to continue to grow. And let's not mention what other things they have in the work. Obviously, they had some thoughts around the crypto. And so we wouldn't it make a lot of sense if you have Facebook Marketplace? Could we see an NFT marketplace? That sounds compelling. No. Crypto, all those things. Blockchain, there's opportunities in blockchain for them. We'll see how that plays out. The Ray-Bans, I don't think that's going to be material to the balance sheet anytime soon, but it's cool. It gets them in the press. It keeps them top of mind. They're doing the right things, and they're shifting away from just being a social media company and just being a media company. And even more, you can make the argument. Mad Dix is doing dollar cost averaging on Facebook. Absolutely. That's the best strategy on stocks like these. My Discord says Facebook might continue to sell off. What is your opinion? I think always the answer is it might sell off. However, the answer I can give you for me personally is I think it's likely we can see more selling. So that's why I'm not just jumping in. If you really just want to get in, we talk about this all the time, scaling in, establishing a starter, getting getting a little taste of it, and then scaling is always a great strategy in general. And that's sort of the thesis behind dollar cost averaging, really, but just more on a shorter time frame. But again, like I had mentioned, even if it continues to sell off, anywhere down here is an opportunity. Let me see if I can get my Weeble back. I would love to get my Weeble back. Nope, ain't coming back. But let me bring this out. Bring this out a little bit. If it gets below $300, which implies about an 8% move down, not out of the odds aren't high, but definitely possible, depending on how the market goes and how this reception is regarding this whistleblower. Could go clear buy to me there, but really now it looks good. Seeing if it could hold. It belongs above 300. Honestly, it belongs above 350 if I'm being quite frank. But again, the good news for this situation is we have this catalyst, which is earnings, potential catalyst, which is earnings right around the corner. So again, October 27th, keep an eye on it. But the thing is, I don't know if you guys jumped on your Instagram, and I'm going to look again quickly, but right before I jumped on, Instagram is still down. Instagram's been down. Facebook's been down. WhatsApp been down. I haven't checked Facebook or WhatsApp, but guys, let me know in the chat. Are they still down for you? As I'm trying to load Instagram's still not working. So if you remember, was it Pinterest? Remind me which company had the outage earlier in the year. Damn, I'm not sure if it was Pinterest. I don't think it was. I can't remember who it was. But they're going to get this right. They're going to fix it. No huge deal. What's up, Michael? Late to the party? It's all good. So anyways, that's the last thing I'll say. The Oculus needs more content. Yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to have more content. Look for them to spend some capital in that area. Wouldn't it be great if they bought one of these game developers? That'd be really awesome. That'd be a smart move. But again, they're going to be fine. Now, if you have an issue with the way the business runs it, you personally, it's an internal struggle. That's on you, and that's fine. We're just speaking typically, fundamentally, and technically. Darren Anderson says Facebook has a 20% upside right now. Christmas came early. Yep. But again, I caution you, just be patient. Omar said, I called my grandmother. Facebook is still down. I know. I don't know who uses it anymore. I'll use it for Marketplace. That's about it. Fastly. Oh, yeah. Fastly. Fastly had an outage, which like their biggest client is Amazon, and that impacted them, among others. Thanks, Alejandro. Appreciate that, brother. Michael Hanna doubled down on Fastly today. You can check that out. I'm going to party outside. Tell you guys. But anyways, to wrap up Facebook, guys, this seems like a great opportunity. It's not about if, it's about when I'm going to get into that stock. I think this is going to do, if it stays down here, earnings should blast off on it. So it should be good. We're going to get into Tesla in 1 second, but I want to check out a couple stocks you guys are calling out. Fastly, Affirm. Damn, Fastly's down 9%. Woo. 36.90. Yeah. I think, and you look at their 52-week highs at 136.50, man, there could be some upside. But again, tech's beaten down, growth's beaten down. These speculatives especially seem like they've been hurt. So keep an eye on that. Affirm also down 9%. Somebody said looks to be bouncing off support. I think it was Rudy Brown. Tinder works. Oh, that's hilarious. There's talk Facebook has been hacked. User data of 1.5 billion users sold on hacking related forums. Yeah, that's not great. Okay, so we'll do Affirm. Down front, this has to be a group buy. I got to move on from Facebook, but I appreciate all the chatter on that. Facebook is my biggest position. I think this is a great group buy. What do you guys think? I know Brad's already in it. I believe he has calls. Brad's not here. He's crying because the market's down. I think he had OAH, which did really well today. I mean, obviously, he's probably read like everybody else. Yeah, so we know the story on Affirm, and for those of you who, just as a reminder, Affirm buy now, pay later. I mean, it just went off after the announcement of the partnership with Amazon. Great news. They had some news around debit card. And I mean, if we're saying this 107 is a support, this will be very interesting. But I told you guys, I mean, listen, I'm as big of a fan of Affirm as anybody else. And it's just got a lot of odds stacked against it. It had a major move on Amazon. And while I think that obviously this is huge and this is a catalyst, I think that I think it got ahead of itself. And I think there's a lot of question marks that need to be answered, really surrounding the revenue. Like, Amazon's huge, but like, how much is their revenue split, and how quickly is that going to come through? However, it should be great. But again, this is going to be one of those things where it's got to give back. I thought it should give back to some of the market. I mean, you're talking about in about 5 weeks, the stock is up 60%. I like it. I think I would get back into it, but I'm certainly not getting into it up here, even though it's come down. Could bounce off 107. That could be great. Good on anybody that's in it. I'm not telling you not to be in it. I'm not telling you not to buy it. I think the long-term prospects are very good, but it's tech, it's speculative, it's growth, it's not yet profitable, and it has heavy exposure in tech in general as far as their partnerships are concerned. So there's a lot stacked against it after running 60% in 5 weeks. Be patient. But a great stock nonetheless, one to certainly keep an eye on and to keep on your watch list. Michael Ann is adding Affirm below 90. I think that's fair. I'd definitely give it a look. If it goes below 90, I would absolutely consider it. Fastly is definitely not going anywhere. That's absolutely true. And again, I think Fastly, also, you look at it, growth tech, 2 months ago, obviously had the outage, which doesn't put it in the most positive light, creates a little bit of a fear. So if you're thinking about a couple of years from now, Fast is going to be fine. It's not going to be at $36. But if we're talking about a few months from now, it's risky. It's risky. But you can certainly make the case that there's a buy opportunity. Just, again, wait for confirmation. I think that's the theme. Just be patient. On a brighter note, oil stocks, energy stocks seem to do well. Like I said, Brad's in the ETF, so he's in OIH. I'm in Marathon Oil. I also have BP. I said this before. I'm looking to like consolidate. I just haven't. My stop hasn't tripped. So like, look at this thing. Marathon made all-time highs, or sorry, made 52-week highs today. Somebody asked about it going over 15. I would expect, had a great week yesterday. I mean, you're looking at, let's just look at the past month. I mean, you just look at, what is this? Not even 2 weeks, up 32%. Stays above 1350. I'm fine. I'm cool with it. But it could continue to break those all-time highs. Or sorry, 52-week highs. I keep saying all-time highs. I've been doing it all day. 52-week highs. But I think anything you would say, obviously, we talked about XOM on Stock Watch Sunday. That's one of the top stocks this week. I imagine it's green today. Great dividend yield. Up 3%. Oh, sorry. Up 1.25%. $61.70. As the market is now closed, could be potentially consolidating for a next leg up. But look, it's nearly a 6% yield, 5.75% yield. So like you look at something like a firm, right? And you think about how it's, and let me go to the 1 year out, and how it's just been an absolute monster lately, but it has all these headwinds that we talked about. What's next? Like what's going to actually push this? What are the tailwinds? But then you look at like something like ExxonMobil, 6% yield, which is essentially double the standard rate of inflation. Reopening, really positive. Potentially, these companies should start talking about how they're going to be players, not if, but how they're going to be players in the EV movement, in the clean energy movement. That's obviously why I'm bullish, very bullish on BP, but they have money to do it. So they're going to at least, even if they don't overhaul their whole operation, they're going to at least dabble in it. You have to. It's going to be the expectation. So it should do well. The other, so it did seemingly well. And the other stock on the Stock Watch Sunday, was it? Actually, I don't know if it was on Stock Watch Sunday. I think it was. It was. It was also on today's watch list. And that's Southwest Airlines up 1.25%. We've been extremely bullish on travel. And it looks like it's ready to move. I mean, it looks like, man, this is looking really good, guys. This is looking really good. By all accounts, when you listen to the travel industry, whether you're listening to hotels, whether you're CEOs of hotels, whether you're listening to airlines, whether you're listening to cruise liners, any of their leadership, demand is back, and it's going to continue to be back. So Southwest Airlines, we saw this with Delta. Delta actually lowered guidance because they were worried about Delta variant, and they were worried about some staffing issues. So they lowered guidance. And then just recently, as of a couple of days ago, they reinstated their guidance, not reinstated it, but they reaffirmed their guidance to pre-levels. So they were back where they were. And then they say that it could even be better than that. So pick your travel stock. They should all do really, really well moving forward. As I check in on the stat, on the chat. And now I'm green on Facebook. Going for a steak dinner. Don't tell me what to do, Grim Reaper. You ain't the boss of me. Down 3% ain't that crazy, Michael Hanna. Obviously, we don't want to see red days, but they happen. It's how you respond, how you check those emotions. But more importantly, what I do want to talk about, obviously happy about oil energy, obviously happy about travel stocks. We talked about a couple opportunities in tech. Apple's looking like a really good opportunity. I think right now the deal is I wouldn't run from tech. I would just avoid speculative and run with the established kings. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, the ones that you know are going to be around. Whatever your favorite one is, whatever you use in your day-to-day life, pick one. Doesn't matter. I think these are opportunities certainly for them. Now, tech spec could have higher upside, sure, but it also is going to be more volatile and you risk more downside. If you have, obviously speculatively look for those opportunities. Just don't get married to it. Be smart about it. Certainly could pay off for you. That's actually what we saw with a firm. Tesla. Delivery numbers came out and everybody was curious about the reaction. All eyes on the reaction. Pre-market, Tesla was up 3.5%. We said this on Stock Watch Sunday. It could be up, pre-market, and then could actually end up selling off throughout the day. And when you know that's exactly what it did. Now, probably from the pressure from the overall market. But let me just give you the quick rundown for Q3 numbers for Tesla. 241,000 vehicles. Consensus was around 220, so they crushed it. But everybody knew they were going to beat it. That wasn't a surprise. Production numbers, I think, were around 230, 231, which is lower than I wanted to see. But about what was expected, maybe slightly lower than what was expected. But is essentially ensured that they crushed the expectation for the year, which was around 750 at the beginning of the year. And it's already been kind of discussed as revising upward. But I think this puts 900,000 vehicles in play for Tesla. What do you guys think? What do you guys think realistically for Tesla? And 900,000 is not hard. Pause. So Tesla's up just under 1%, 0.8%. But if you could look this steady incline, I mean, since May, you've got 35% run. Looks good. And this is what I like to see in Tesla, not the choppiness and the volatility. Steady out, continued growth. Leading into earnings, let's not forget that. That's going to be really interesting. And to be honest, that's a little bit, I talked about the red flag of Tesla, which is, and I love Tesla. However, the expectations are so high. The bar is set so high comparatively to others. You're looking at these bullshit companies who have either haven't sold a car. Man, I told Mini Zoom I tried not to curse. Failing. Smaller car, either not selling cars or like selling 10,000, 20,000, which is great for them. But you're talking about Tesla delivering 240,000 vehicles in Q3. Think about that. And what they have at their advantage, they don't spend any money on advertising. Their margins are increasing. Demand is high. And if they get EV credits, approved for EV credits, watch out. It's going to be bananas. Don says the chip's just making me second guess my numbers. Yeah, I think the chip's making everybody second guess their numbers. The chips, if there wasn't a chip shortage this year, could have been 1 million. I told you guys that at the beginning of the year. Next year should be 1.2 million. And that's conservative. Miguel Monte, all in on Tesla and really, really want to buy more, but it's so, well, I think you're saying as high as a kite. It's so kite high now. Yeah. I'm interested to see the reaction after earnings because I worry, I shouldn't say I worry, but I think there may be an opportunity after earnings because this is what happens. We build the hype. Anybody looks for just a little grain of hope. They build the hype. Tesla's had this run. And then they outperform in deliveries. And now the expectations are so high. What they didn't talk about is production. And you got to keep up. And so obviously the chip supply chain, there's causing issues, even like a paint shortage. The shortage actually, you could look at it two ways. Competitors can have time to catch up, or it actually just bodes well because it extends out the pipeline of demand. I think it kind of does both those things, but we'll see. And it's going to go into next year, the chip issue. But again, you don't want to wait until they've said it's relieved because by that time, it's too late, right? But they're going to start talking about when they anticipate it being relieved. We've already had some talks about beginning of 2022, middle of 2022. Not sure if that's the case. I think that's ambitious, but we'll see. Jeff Bonica, Sam, Boston Beer Company, RSI below 30 since July 23rd. Talk about oversold. I mean, yeah, that's going to be a great opportunity at some point. I just want a 52-week low account. I can just add money to it and just set it and forget it. Because you put Sam in there, you put Rocket, you put Clover, you put Fastly. You've put, you'd put all these stocks like that are going to be fine in 3 years, 5 years. Government must end up giving. Yeah. Don says there would have to be a decade of Tesla shortage for competition to catch up. Yeah, I agree. And even then, probably not. As soon as competition, I love these comments. As soon as competition looks like it's catching up, Elon says, hold my beer. By the way, though, here's what we're going to hear about. Here's what we have to remember about these earnings for Tesla. And because it's stupid, but we have to say it. We have to acknowledge it. This earnings is going to be the first earnings that Elon's not going to be on the call, which seems so ridiculous. But the reality is, these are the type of things that happen that create these moves. And these are opportunities. Again, it doesn't matter to Tesla if Elon's on the call or not. No, it doesn't. But the analysts want to see him. The market wants to see him. And they're just going to drum up some fear. But he said he's doing it to allow him to focus on the company. So it's a smart move. So that's the other thing where I'm like, high expectations going into their earnings. Elon not being on the call. I think some people are forgetting about that. And potential tempered expectation because of production. This goes back down to the low 700s. It's time to add for me. What's up, Oliver Thorpe? Are you not you might be copy and pasting because Brad's not here, brother. You may not have realized that because I'm sharing my screen. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. 2 red today. Feel like I'm not swing trading enough. Still need to learn how to sell more than buy back later. Yeah, I would urge you to just consider looking at asymmetrical and really thinking about your trade strategy while the market's closed. How much is emotion involved? I'm not sure, but Don talks about it. We actually have a video coming out in options, hopefully on Wednesday, about the mistake to avoid with the wheel strategy. But one of the things he mentions that he talks about, he's mentioned multiple times, is like it's not 2020 anymore. I think people got sort of fat and happy and just thought this is just, oh, this is easy. Like 2020 isn't the norm. You got to work. Elon is just laughing to competitors' cars. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to marry myself to who I think is the brightest individual in the market. Out of every CEO, if I bet my money on anybody, it's Elon Musk, and you guys know that. But with that being said, guys, listen, Tesla's going to be just fine. Promising today. If we get a bounce back tomorrow, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see a green day tomorrow, I would just be worried about I'd be a little bit cautious about a potential fake out. We'll see. Debt ceiling is another part of the conversation this week. But if we get a green day tomorrow, I think Tesla could go off potentially. All about what it does running into earnings. It has earnings in a couple weeks. So we'll see. Guys, we appreciate you. Don Fran, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for engaging our community. Guys, if you're interested in our community and the Chaos Crew, you could click the join button. We have a Discord. We have a watch list that goes out with technical fundamentals every morning. Brad has alerts. Anytime he makes a trade, sends out has a publicly traded portfolio. We got a bunch of other goodies. Click that join button. It's next to the chat. At the very minimum, if you do me a favor, just hit that like out the door. Appreciate you guys. Had fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time at the closing bell.